Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind. So today I pretty much didn't have too much choice, at least in terms of choosing my first video topic. I mean, technically I had a choice. I could make a video on literally any topic. I mean, we could be talking about the Teletubbies today. You never actually know. But obviously that's not how it works. I go with what the people want or what I perceive the people are interested in. And today there's really only one option, the Ben Shapiro / Candace Owens situation, which continues to escalate. In fact, it's escalated to such a level that now Ben Shapiro, co-founder of the Daily Wire, is calling for Candace Owens to quit. Most likely, I guess he can't fire her. Maybe by design he doesn't have the authority to do so, or possibly she's protected by her contract. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but Ben Shapiro wants her gone. I'm sure many of you guys are confused by that, so let me update you guys on what's going on here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so there's a current controversy. It was covered very quickly on Tucker Carlson's new show on X, where he interviewed Candace Owens. It gives you a little bit of an idea of what's going on.
The internet was dominated yesterday by video of Ben Shapiro, who you work with at the Daily Wire, I think it's fair to say, attacking you. Here's the video. I just want to get your reaction to it.
Yes, the question was about Candace Owens. I think her behavior during this has been disgraceful. Without a doubt. She still works for my company. And I think she's been absolutely disgraceful. I think that her faux sophistication on these particular issues has been ridiculous. It's not faux sophistication, it's ridiculous. Everybody can see the moves that she's making and the things that she's saying, and I find them disreputable.
So maybe there's a point in the video where he explains what exactly you did wrong and how you were wrong. I haven't seen it. But to call somebody, quote, absolutely disgraceful, particularly a coworker, seems like a pretty big step. And I really don't know the background here. What is that about?
You know, there isn't much of a background. I saw the video when everybody else saw it when I woke up.
No one warned you about it.
Nobody warned me about it. It looks like maybe he didn't know he was being recorded. It looks like it was some sort of a private event. I got no clarity on the issue that he was particularly speaking on. And in what was said, I can't respond to it beyond what he's saying because it's just ad hominem attack.
So if we could take 3 steps back and give us the context for this debate. How are you on different sides of it? I haven't heard you endorsing Hamas. Like no.
Well, I have not endorsed Hamas in any way, and yet people have interpreted things that I say, or actually rather things that I don't say. It's becoming very much reminiscent to me, and why I have used my platform to say this, of Black Lives Matter, where if you don't say anything, they say your silence is violence. If you say something and it's even-handed and it's nuanced, I'm seeing a lot of that behavior right now when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a conflict that I have seen every single person, including myself, condemn what happened on October 7th. Because who wouldn't condemn terrorism? It's obvious. Right. Who would not condemn innocent Israelis dying? But if you then say that it is also sad when an innocent Palestinian child dies, suddenly this is pro-Hamas, or you need to say, even when you're talking about how sad it is that a child dies, you need to button that statement by saying, but that child was a human shield. That's not going to be my response. First off, as a mother, that's not going to be my response as somebody who's about to give birth. When I see these images of children involved on both sides of the conflict, I've pointed to the people that are mocking dead Israeli children and said that they are horrific. I am even keel on this matter, and yet people think that you need to be extreme. So people that have become more radical and extreme are perceiving a moderate stance as not enough. And
because I was about to say, people can disagree with you or agree with you or whatever, but you certainly don't seem radical on this topic.
I'm definitively not radical. My stance has not changed in terms of whether or not America should be involved in this conflict.
Ben Shapiro, during a private event, called Candace Owens disgraceful, said her statements were disreputable. I mean, really went in on her, publicly, you could argue. I mean, technically a private event, but there's no real expectation of privacy these days, considering everything is recorded and put online. I'm sure Ben knows that probably better than anyone, considering he's been doing public speaking for the better part of a decade. But I'm sure you're still confused, because Ben Shapiro didn't actually go into detail, or really at all, in terms of what it was that Candace Owens said or did that was so disgraceful and disreputable. Well, what did she do exactly? She questioned the official narrative.
Well, I am here today to endorse Nikki Haley for president of Israel. I think she's earned that. I think Bibi Netanyahu is going through a very bad time right now. Support for Israel has virtually collapsed socially. If you're paying attention to the trends and you're paying attention to what people are watching, you're paying attention to the protests. And the one person that I think is capable of getting it back is Nikki Haley,
with enough money from foreign interest lobbies. So there it is, guys. I'm endorsing Nikki Haley, president of Israel. There are a lot of people in America that are sitting here going, okay, well, can you answer why Jews are so special? Because as white people in this country on university campuses, we are being taught that we are not allowed to have a voice. We have had to endure exactly what you're talking about, BLM. We've endured much worse than you have because it's in the actual textbooks. We are being told that we are systematically racist, that we are born wrong because of the color of our skin. And if we say anything, we'll lose everything. This is the typical experience on white campuses. So people, this is not whataboutism. This is like actually what we have been fighting for years. So it sort of arrived as, I think, for a lot of Americans, a surprise when they're saying, well, now that it's about Israel, which is something that's overseas, we need to, hand these university professors, we need to do something about this issue. Why weren't we trying to correct course on this issue? Why weren't donors pulling their funding out of these universities? Why weren't these same things being said for these last, I would say, 8 years of rampant BLM, white man can't do anything right, actively being taught in the classrooms? So there are people that are asking that question now.
Now, look, this is just my opinion, but here's my perspective on the issue. I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers because it's an opinion. I know, real spooky stuff, but I don't get what's so disgraceful and disreputable about what Candace Owens is saying. I mean, for the most part, it seems like her rhetoric, or I guess her narrative questioning, generally revolves around U.S. involvement, sending U.S. troops, sending U.S. dollars. I think she's asking some very important questions. The main question that I think we ought to be asking ourselves in general is, what are we really going to accomplish by getting involved here? I've been dealing with this same thing with a lot of my friends and a lot of my family. People get really emotional during times of war. People want to pick a side. There's the good guy and the bad guy. It feels really good to be on the good guy's side. People get emotional. It almost becomes like a team sport kind of phenomenon. And then all of a sudden, people so callously and casually speak of war. Oh, we got to go in there and we got to get him. We got to get Hamas. We got to bomb them to oblivion. I mean, that's pretty much what Ben Shapiro's been promoting. A lot of people tend to get emotional during these times and just blindly support it, and not too many people are asking questions, questioning the official narrative and asking why. Well, what are we going to accomplish? I feel like that's what Candace Owens is doing. It's a little bit of a, let's say, devil's advocate play, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, at least in my view. We should be asking ourselves important questions like this. We should be asking ourselves whether it's worth it, whether we're going to be able to accomplish what it is that we're seeking, whether it's worth it for hundreds of thousands of people, the next generation of young men, to die. I mean, in reference to the whole Ukraine thing, that's literally what's going on. The question is it worth it? Was it worth it in Afghanistan? Was it worth it in Vietnam? Were any of these regime change, anti-terrorist actions taken by the United States government really worth it in the end? Did they pan out? Did they play out? Did they produce the results that we were expecting? The answer is absolutely not. The region is more destabilized than ever. Terrorist groups are bigger and badder than ever and recruiting more than ever. For Pete's sakes, the Taliban and Al-Qaeda took over Afghanistan entirely under Joe Biden's leadership. That was basically the culmination of 20 years of involvement post 9/11. Now we ought to be asking ourselves the exact same question. It seems like we're doing the righteous thing at the time. We're standing up for the good guys, but violence breeds more violence. We're not getting anybody on our side. We're creating more problems. It's possible that we go in there and we absolutely BTFO Hamas, but there's going to be a new Hamas. There's going to be a Hezbollah. There's going to be more animosity in the Middle East at the end of this. And so most likely we're going to continue to perpetuate the problem for more decades into the future, essentially where we are now, as opposed to where we thought we'd be when this whole, when our focus on the Middle East really started. I don't think challenging the status quo is disreputable. I don't think anything Candace Owens said was disgraceful. I think Ben Shapiro, whenever Israel is involved, becomes a little bit blinded, a little bit emotional. And if you're not 100% on board with using absolute military might to defend Israel, then you're pretty much the enemy. You're disgraceful and disreputable. I think that's quite unfair. And Ben Shapiro also kept mentioning how Candace Owens was acting with a certain level of faux sophistication. I'd argue you could say the same thing about Ben Shapiro in all of these instances. From his perspective, he's being sophisticated and he understands the history and this, that, and the other. Yet every single time anything happens, he becomes completely blinded with rage and a vengeance venom and essentially calls for U.S. involvement in war every single time. I think that could be classified or described as a faux sophistication sophistication, where he presents his ideas as being non-emotional and logical and straight to the facts, when his reaction is always highly emotional and reactive. Candace Owens is the one that doesn't have a horse in the race, and so I'd argue it's a lot easier for her to apply, well, I'd say a legitimate sophistication and sophisticated approach that questions all sides and all narratives and attempts to get to the truth, rather than a biased approach masquerading as a sophisticated approach. That's honestly my view on the topic. I think we ought to be having a conversation rather than attempting to cancel other people who disagree with us. I think let's avoid the sort of leftism attitude. You know, some people might call me a hypocrite because of what I said about the young kids on college campuses who I think should be expelled for pulling down posters of missing hostages, and in some cases literally advocating, cheering on, and justifying the behaviors or the horrible, atrocious actions of a terrorist organization. I think, we could easily apply a distinction there. But anyways, back to the topic. I don't think Candace Owens should be fired. I don't think she should be barred from speaking. I don't think we should ignore her and disregard her statements as disgraceful and disreputable just because Ben Shapiro told us to. I think we should be having an honest conversation about U.S. involvement in actual military and tactical strategy moving forward, because if we follow our emotions on this one like we have in the past, it's most likely going to lead us to the exact same place, which is where we are right now. More chaos, global instability, threat of nuclear war, division, hatred, you name it. And while that seems to be kind of the trend of human history, I don't know about you guys, but if possible, I'd like to break through that. The problem in Israel is that Jews and Arabs can't get along. They hate each other, they want each other's land, they don't believe that they can coexist or that the opposite group should exist to begin with. Well, maybe we should be focused there and kind of helping ameliorate that situation and trying to fix that situation. Maybe we should be focused on peace rather than causing more hatred and destruction. I don't know. Just a thought. I feel like going to war or further escalation of violence is just going to perpetuate what's currently going on and most likely exacerbate it and make it much worse. But that's just one man's opinion. Of course, let me know what you guys think in the comments section. If you think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong, do you agree with Ben Shapiro? Do you agree with Candace Owens? Do you have a nuanced opinion? Whatever it is, let me know in the comments section. That's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.